once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, to a brand new edition of the Quinn Spinn, a very special Next Favorite Band mashup edition of the Quinn Spinn. I'm one of your hosts, the Quinn, on this episode, and I'm back here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more for another rousing and riveting installment of the official podcast of Underground Music Collective. At the top of the show, you heard Revel 9's All I've Become. That has been our opening theme song here at the Quinn Spinn since the great year of 2014, and will be until the very end of days. And of course, I am joined on this episode by our friend and co-conspirator, Philip Reese, of the Your Next Favorite Band podcast, and we jointly welcome Alex Radus to the show. Alex, of course, will be performing not once, but twice during our Sounds of the Underground event, Friday, June 21st at SteelStacks in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He'll perform solo as part of the Writers' Round portion of the evening on the Levitt stage. And then, later in the evening, to close us out actually on the Town Square stage with his band Hot for Robot. So we're going to preview the night, and if you like this episode, there's more where it came from, because Alex is bringing the whole band, Hot for Robot, onto the show in a few weeks. So details on that as they come. But for now, let's meet Alex, and I'll be back to wrap it up. All right, as I mentioned at the top of the show, or at least my version of the show, Philip Reese from Your Next Favorite Band joining us, tag teaming this interview just like we did back in November for Nashville meets Bethlehem, and now it is Sounds of the Underground season, of course, June 21st, that is the first Friday of summer, at SteelStacks in Bethlehem. We have 8 acts across 2 stages, and the man responsible for 2 of those 8 acts is joining us here on the show today, Mr. Alex Radus, who you know from Alex Radus, as well as Hot for Robot, who will be closing the night for us over on the Town Square stage after everything wraps up on Levitt. So, Alex, first of all, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate having me. Very
excited to have you, and I do have to just acknowledge you and thank you for everything you've been doing to make this event a success so far. You were just on Channel 69 News in Allentown. You've got a whole promo tour regionally coming up there in the lead up to this event and other things you have going on, which of course we'll talk about, but just want to acknowledge that, and for those of you listening, watching out there, this man has been hustling, so just want to make sure that is acknowledged here at the top of the show.
The consummate professional.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. But, kudos to you guys for giving me such a cool thing to promote. I mean, that really helps when you're reaching out to DJs and reaching out to TV to say yeah, there's a really compelling reason to let's talk about this show live on the air, and people are stoked about it.
Yeah, definitely getting that sense from down here, 800 miles away. But let's talk about those reasons, why people should care about this. And of course, you are a big part of those reasons. So let's get to know you by having you answer the 3 standard questions here at the Quinn Spinn. Those being, who are you? What are your passions? And why on earth would you want to come on the Quinn Spinn Next Favorite Band mashup edition?
Well, I'm Alex Radus. I'm also AKA Hot for Robot, I guess. Passions, obviously songwriting and music, performing. Other than that, my family, yoga and meditation practice, and those are the things that really keep me going every day, get me out of bed. And why do I want to come on the show? Well, I mean, we've been sort of in the same orbit for a number of years, and we've gotten to work together a little bit in the past, and we're working together more now, which is really awesome. And you guys have been super supportive of what I'm doing, and I try to be supportive of your endeavors as well. And so, to me, it's just a no-brainer. So I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you. And of course, you'll get to answer those questions with the full band in a few weeks. Hot for Robot is coming on the Quinn Spinn, so very excited about that. And we'll actually be doing that one in person because I'll already be up there. So
yeah, that's super exciting.
So you come at this from a unique perspective, like we mentioned, because you are in not one, but 2 of the acts performing on June 21st at SteelStacks. So you get to perform acoustic as yourself during the Writers' Round portion on Levitt. And then we move over to Town Square, and Hot for Robot is closing that out and just announced this week. It's the album release from the live album you recorded at Godfrey Daniels. So
the day just keeps getting better and better.
Right. More and more reasons to come out, more and more reasons to come to SteelStacks and support what we're doing here. And of course, getting to perform on the Levitt stage too, huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for all of us to get to do this on Levitt for sure.
Yeah.
So from an artist perspective, Alex, talk about what that means. And how you plan to use this night to really, spread community, spread music, and really build something here for the future.
Yeah, so this is gonna be my debut performance on Levitt, which I'm super excited about. It's a great stage. People always have a blast there. I've seen a bunch of shows there. I'm really excited to be on the stage. I love the songwriters in the round format. I just love doing it. It's one of my favorite things. I feel, after listening to, however many people it is, 2, 3, 4 songwriters ahead of me, I'm just always super jazzed. And usually like whatever song I was about to play,
Right.
is going to be completely switched by the time I hear the songs in front of me, because I kind of want to, blend in a little bit, or maybe I want to take it in a different direction, like whatever it feels like the mood wants to be. Does the audience want to stay here? Do they want to go somewhere else?
Sure.
So it's just this super dynamic and engaged kind of format that I've always really loved doing. I'm going to try, and I don't want to make, I don't want to tie my hands too much, because like I said, I'll probably just switch whatever songs I'm playing the moment of. But, one of the things that I try to do, I think that sets me a little bit apart, is what I like to call genre whiplash, because to me, genre is like just another kind of tool in the toolkit. I mean, this is why I have to have at least 2 bands. You're showcasing them both that night. Genre is just like another tool that I can use to tell the story. And so I thought it might be kind of cool, as I'm thinking, how do I want to approach the night, and maybe try to feature that a little bit. Maybe do like sort of a singer-songwriter kind of tune, do one of my sort of jazzy or swingy kind of tunes, and do, some of the, for lack of a better term, I have this sort of funky, bluesy kind of almost slap bass style of playing the guitar. Thought I might bring out one of those and just kind of keep it fresh each time.
I hope you do, because you're like, I love watching you play. Like, I think you're so talented and so well trained, and so, there's a crispness to your performance. And a lot of times when you're listening to you play in that style, it's one of those ones where it's like, where's the other player? Because it sounds like there's at least 2 people playing, and it's just you.
Yeah, well, I'm really lucky to have like 2 great bands that I play with these days, but it wasn't always the case. I was solo for a long time, and one of the ways I found to kind of set myself apart was, I'm gonna find a way to add the snare into this song with
Sure.
my thumb slapping the strings, and I'm gonna walk the bass line a little bit. I'm not gonna I do have kind of just standard strummy tunes, but for the most part, I'm bringing some finger picking into it, and maybe some, bass lines and that sort of thing, just to, keep it fresh, because I was a one-man show for so long.
From a community perspective as well, it's an all local lineup, which I think we should definitely note. It's all Eastern Pennsylvania, mostly Lehigh Valley, or artists who play in the Lehigh Valley.
Definitely. Yep.
From Philly. Alex, from your perspective, as somebody who's been in that ecosystem in Eastern PA and the Lehigh Valley specifically for quite some time, what does an opportunity like this mean for the Lehigh Valley and its musicians and its music community?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just highlights like how rich and broad the scene is, because like every time I think I've sort of, seen it all and met all the folks, all of a sudden there's like all these great acts that I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't heard them before. Now I got to hear them. And, that's what's really one of the things that's really exciting about this show is like I've heard a couple of the acts, but some I've never heard before, and I'm really excited to kind of be a part of the show with them. Years ago when I was doing a lot of touring, and I found that like there were these amazing original music scenes, but always in like major markets where I couldn't afford to live. And I just kind of happened upon the Lehigh Valley and was so impressed with like the arts ecosystem here.
Sure.
And certainly Arts Quest and SteelStacks and Music Fest is a big part of that. And you guys are a big part of that, bringing, the music industry to the Valley, as well as, just musicians being here. So all of a sudden I was like in this place that really celebrated original music, and I could also afford to live here, and that's still true today. And I think it's just a really great place for artists to come up, and I'd love to, sing its praises from the highest mountain and get more music lovers in this area.
Yeah. Well, you have a family connection to Godfrey Daniels, correct?
I do indeed. Yeah. My uncle, Doug Anderson, but he goes by Old Moose when he's playing music. He's a great songwriter, and he went to Moravian with John Gorka and Richard Schindel and Russ Rentler, and they formed a band called the Razzie Dazzy Spasm Band. They played at Godfrey Daniels, 45 years ago and change when it was opening. And,
Right.
John Gorka used to live in the basement. He used to do sound there, and he would open for the touring acts that were coming through, and really got a lot of stage time, and obviously went on to a fantastic career. And I'm lucky to, Godfrey Daniels is really kind of like my home venue in a way. They've been super supportive of me for a long time.
Yep.
And that's where we recorded the album that you just mentioned that we're going to be releasing at Levitt, or Town Square stage. So happy to have Godfrey's as part of that album.
For sure.
Yeah.
I wish I had a name like you don't hear nicknames like Old Moose anymore. I kind of wish those still came back around. But you are playing, just for some people who maybe the 21st happens to be a conflict. You're playing Godfrey's on the 1st, opening for Jeffrey Gaines. I just kind of wanted to quick put that out there since this episode's going to come out in enough time to promote that. Yeah,
that'll be cool. Looking forward to supporting him. I'll be doing probably, a 20-30 minute opening set, and then he'll be taking the rest of the night. And, I opened for John Gorka there last year. So they've been supportive as far as getting me in front of, some great players and some great players.
Certainly. Sorry, I cut you off there, Gerard.
Oh no, I forgot what I was going to say, but it's cool. No, I was going to say we can come up with a nickname for you if you want.
I guess that is the way it works. As often it's just organic, but just those very cool throwback Old Moose and
Well, he's a really tall dude and very strong, and they used to travel around playing on the back of a flatbed truck, just driving around town with his band back in the day. And it was he was like the guy that got under the piano and hoisted it up. So he was Moose then, and now he says he's old now, so he calls himself Old Moose.
Nice. Perfect.
He's still very strong. He probably still plays the piano.
Yes.
Of course, we want to thank Arts Quest too for, first of all, giving us a venue for this event on the 21st. And everything that they've done to help us bring this together, help us bring these artists to the stage. And of course, we talked about the Writers Round format. We'll talk more about Hot for Robots, when we do the Hot for Robot episode in June. But that live album you got there, you just showed us. What can we expect when we are among the first to pick it up that night on the 21st?
Yeah, so what we did, so we put it out an album in 2021. It was our debut album. We only did it on vinyl. We never did it on CD. And I've had many people over the years saying, "Oh, I don't do vinyl, but I wish you had this on CD." And then we recorded this unplugged album live at Godfrey Daniels in the fall. And so what we thought we would do is we actually pressed. So this is the cover for the 2021 album. I know it looks backwards, but. And so we pressed it on CD for the first time, and we added all the songs that are on the first studio album. We added the live unplugged versions to that CD, so we kind of have this double album sort of style, which is cool. And then we did a lot of new tunes back in November in an unplugged format that have never been released in studio format. And so we want to do we want to release the sort of official studio versions of those, and then we're going to release the live unplugged versions of those songs, if that makes any sense.
That's cool.
It does.
Sort of like our 2021 release plus volume 1 of the unplugged stuff.
Now, do you still have vinyl of the other version of it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cool. Because I was going to say, if you had the moment you go to the CD, someone's going to walk around and be like, "I wish you had vinyl."
I know. Exactly. Well, that's good. And then I can direct.
Can't win for losing. But anyway, having both options, then you can make everybody happy.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I like getting vinyl. I tend to buy vinyl more than CD, and so that's the first time I ever did vinyl, and I thought it was really cool, and people have been enjoying it.
Yeah, no, I'm digging the vinyl as well. It's one of those things where it's, it really shows well as far as the cover art, and then it's just it is a very nice sound. It just is. The technology has really, taken off for something that used to sound like a lot of hiss and a lot of crackles, which even that's cool too. But it's really sounds quite nice now.
Yeah, and I swear every time I come out with a new album, it's always the same question: am I going to do CDs again? But you know what? They still sell.
Sure.
Selling them at shows, so it's great.
Yep.
And I have to say, too, I was at Godfrey's that night in November for the recording of this live album, and it was a tremendous performance. That was the night after Nashville meets Bethlehem.
Right.
That Saturday, we did the Friday, you did the Saturday, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, the next thing we do at SteelStacks, Alex is a part of it, and Hot for Robot's a part of it. Like, it's such an incredible performance that I already knew how good of a performer you are, but getting to see Hot for Robot in that setting, I don't know if I had ever seen Hot for Robot live before that, because I think you guys formed after I moved, but like it was so cool to be able to do that, and like the wheels were turning for this back in November, so it all comes full circle on June 21st.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, the only reason I wasn't at your show at SteelStacks is because I was in the studio that night with Hot for Robot doing the new studio album. and then we took a break from the studio, went and set everything up at Godfrey's and recorded the live album there. It was fun. I really, I had the idea of doing doing Hot for Robot unplugged, because it's usually like more of a raucous, like alt rock, post-punk. We have a bunch of different styles we do, but I had the idea of doing an unplugged show at Godfrey's before I had any proof of concept. I'm like, I think this will be cool. But it wasn't until, a couple months before the show that we started rehearsing this stuff acoustic. And I was like, oh, this is actually better than I even thought it was going to be. Like, it just really gelled. It was cool.
I'm also picturing it being like the old MTV Unplugged, where you actually put the stage in the center and sat people around it all.
I was picturing it with Nirvana Unplugged, like candles. I'm like,
right.
Wear a Kurt Cobain sweater,
playing accordion.
Well, actually, I did play that Shruti box that night.
There you go.
Yeah, sort of an accordion.
Yeah.
All things to look forward to on the live record. We do have to wrap up. Our next guest is actually in the waiting room already for the next one of these episodes. But Alex, I want to thank you for joining us, of course, and we'll definitely connect before the event one more time with the whole band, Hot for Robot. But before we let you go, where can people learn more about you online and follow the journey?
Yeah, so alexradus.com, ALEXRADUS, and then I'm on social at Alex Radus Music on Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube. Trying to roll out some cool YouTube videos. And then Hot for Robot, all you got to know is it's HOT number 4 robot. If you type that into anything, we're the only thing that's going to come up. All one word, HOT
right.
number 4 robot.
Yeah, there's no like fetishy robot sites out there, I don't believe.
Yeah, if you type hot robot, now you get something.
You might get something. Get that number 4 in there.
Well, now that you said that, hopefully this episode doesn't get in the wrong hands. But anyway, well, guys, thanks for joining. Alex, thank you for joining. Really looking forward to working with you on this event on the 21st, and of course, in the future as well. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
And carve up, you're the Iron Man of the day. You got to play both sides of that coin.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Nice.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so there you have it. And again, there is much more where that came from, not only from Alex in a few weeks when Hot for Robot joins us in full on the show, but also from more artists on this lineup. So stay tuned for more information on that. Very excited as we move towards Sounds of the Underground, Friday, June 21st, first Friday of summer at SteelStacks in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Going home for a big one. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you to ArtsQuest. Thank you, of course, to Philip Reese and the Your Next Favorite Band team for joining us in this endeavor. And thank you for listening. And you can follow the Quinn Spinn on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Also on the socials at Quinn Spinn Official, 2 N's and Quinn, 2 N's and Spin. On Instagram and Threads, and on Facebook and the TikToks, it is the Quinn Spinn. Again, 2 N's and Quinn and Spin. Underground Music Collective is our central hub for all things independent music, creativity, community, and more. UMCNashville.com will lead you pretty much everywhere you need to go. Also, UMC Nashville on most of the socials will lead you where you need to go. And make sure, because we are based in Nashville, to follow Nash Live shows on Instagram. More information coming for our next Nash Live experience very, very soon. Rebel 9's All Become going to take us out like it brought us in. Grab some muffins on your way out.